Hey YouTube, how's it going? I hope all is well. Today we are going to do some much needed maintenance upon this guitar, namely a string change and a cleaning. Hold on, just 1 second here. So, as you can probably tell, maybe not, this guitar is dirty. Very, very dirty. I cannot remember the last time I have changed these strings. It has been a very long while. The reason we're kind of doing this though is because I have seen it come up on YouTube a bit lately, some string changes, and not to be a copycat, I figured I'd put in my 2 cents. So this is actually a guitar that I built, parts caster if you will. This body I got off of eBay from somebody. It was pre-cut, it was not finished. So this is my finish work here. So when I got this body, it looked pretty much like the neck did. It was just plain white. And then of course this neck is just like a WD neck or something like that. It's not a Warmoth or anything like that. Nothing particularly special about it. But I wish we had a different guitar. This one has, we probably are going to do another one with another guitar, but this particular one has locking tuners on it, so I guess more the objective of what we were going to do with a string change was show you how to do it, where we do the luthier's wrap, is what I think they call it. But it's the one where you go, you know, you take your incoming string and you go over the top of it, and then the next time around you go underneath it. But in either case, we're going to give this guitar some much needed love. Now, I am brutal when it comes to string changes. I kind of am in the feeling that any guitar made since about the 1990s probably has a neck that it can maintain and manage, you know, getting, you know, the strings cut off, you know, for the few minutes that they're going to be off the guitar. It makes cleaning the guitar significantly easier and all that other fun stuff. So unless you've got like a vintage guitar that has, you know, the old school single action truss rod, I don't think there's any reason to worry about the stress that you're going to put on the neck by cutting the strings off, you know, just straight off. I kind of feel like it's an old wives' tale, to be honest. But the way I usually do it is I just grab the strings with my fingers here and my thumb, so that way when I cut them, they just kind of land in your fingers, right? So you just kind of grab it like that. Obviously, some of them are going to plop out, but, you know, objectively, it's just gonna snap in your fingers and it won't go anywhere. Some of the thinner strings might pop out. Usually the B and the E will zing all the way out, but at least they won't hit anything. Yeah, the E string always tries to go. So there's that, and then of course you take these guys and run them out the back of your guitar. Try to get them all out at once. There you go. Lay that back down. Set those aside. Now, this one, as I mentioned, has locking tuners, which isn't really helpful for doing this video, but I'm going to unlock them real quick, and we're going to get the strings out of the way. There we go. Let's give them a couple wraps. I love locking tuners, by the way. Best invention freaking ever. Now, there's a couple questions as to how to do these, but you'll see here, just on the strings, that they literally go around, you know, maybe once, not even once, like a quarter of a turn. That's the whole idea behind locking tuners, is that you only have to go around the tuning peg, you know, a quarter of a turn or so. Any more than that, you're just, you know, wasting string, I guess, which I guess you're not really wasting string, but you know what I mean. Alright, so there's a few things that you're going to need in order to do a string change. Obviously, you're going to need some sort of cutters of choice. These are some old crappy ones I've had since I was a kid. I use them specifically for this purpose. And it's just because where I usually end up cutting them at, I know that they cut the strings really nice. You'll need, you know, your choice of string winder. This one here I've had since I was a child. I think this was the very first string winder I ever got. I dare say that this thing is 30 years old or more. About 30 years old. And then of course you can get one of these styles if you want. I'm indifferent. I don't honestly use this one all that often, unless I'm really in a hurry to do a string change. I'll use this one, you know, most commonly. To be honest though, I'm just as happy using my hands and winding them by hand, so your choice. You're gonna need some guitar polish that obviously gets all the fingerprints off. This stuff I like, it's pretty cool, it does a good job, I like the finish that it leaves, and this stuff, it's cool, it smells like bubblegum, I mean, if that's your thing. I don't know, just pick a polish, they're all the same. Gobby Labs makes their Fretboard Conditioner. There's some debate as to how good this stuff really is, or whether or not you should even use it. All I can tell you is this. You need to get this gunk off the neck somehow. This stuff is good at doing that. It doesn't hurt the neck, I can tell you that, because I've been using this stuff for 20 plus years now, and I've never had a problem with my necks. Obviously, necks like rosewood necks or ebony necks, where they don't apply a finish to it, need to have some sort of oil in it, I think. Maybe not something that sticks in there too much and gums it up, but whether you use naphtha to clean your guitar necks, or rubbing alcohol to clean your guitar necks, or this to clean your guitar necks, I don't think it really matters. Pick one, go with it. Lemon oil, I'm sure, is just fine. But, you know, the necks that don't have a finish on them, I think it does have something, you know, using this is better than using just straight up rubbing alcohol, where it literally strips the moisture out of it. This stuff here at least leaves somewhat of a finish in there that is, you know, like oily, if you will. So I apply it pretty liberally, straight up a line down the middle of the neck. It was probably a little bit much in some spots, but we're gonna spread it around the neck anyway. Like I say, it's more or less just a cleaner for me, so we're not really worried about what it's gonna do protection wise, because obviously a maple neck such as this one is going to have a finish on it that protects the neck. So, you know, putting Gobby Labs on there or whatever isn't really going to do much for it. And this gunk is on there. It's been a while since I did the string change on this guy here. I might even need to apply a little bit more. But yeah, you're just going to rub your neck for a while. Don't get no wild ideas. I know what you're thinking. Knock it off. Get your head out the gutter. So we're going to rub that for a little bit until it's nice and clean like. This is probably the boring part as you watch me rub, you know, literally a lubricant / cleaner all over my neck here. Dun, 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 dun. And we just keep going until it's all nice and clean. Obviously on a neck that has, you know, a natural finish like a rosewood guitar neck or ebony might have, you want to work it in. You want to make sure that you get all the goopy goop out. And we're almost done. Might need a little bit more, I don't know. Let's see here. It's still kind of coming off. Yeah, there's enough in there. We'll get it. So I really like this guitar. I think it's a poplar body with obviously a flame maple top. It's a real cap. It's a 1/4 inch cap. The finish came out really good. It's just a what's that stuff called? Like birchwood Casey or something like that, or whatever it is. The True Oil. It's just a True Oil finish on the guitar body, of course. Came out pretty good. I matted the top because I didn't like the shininess of it like it does on the back, and you'll see the back here in a moment. But it came out good. And then for the pickups, I have a Jerry Donahue. That's a Seymour Duncan Jerry Donahue in the bridge position there. And then I have it's a Fender, what do they call it? Twisted Telly. It's a horrible name for a neck pickup, really, or a pickup in general, but hey, whatever. They are what they are. Alright, then you take another rag and we'll wipe that off. I like the Twisted Telly neck because I do like a more Stratocaster style sound for my neck pickups. That's kind of my thing. So obviously when I learned of the Twisted Telly, that was, you know, it just made sense. And I was happy that I made the decision to go that route. I, honest to God, think that the Seymour Duncan Jerry Donahue signature pickup in the bridge position is by far the single best bridge pickup you can have in a Telecaster. It's got snap for days, it's got twang for days, and it's got balls. Dare I say, just straight up freaking balls. It's got girth, it's got everything that you want. It's a beautiful pickup. It does clean well enough. It's great. I love it. So if you're interested in a new pickup or a different pickup for your guitar, your Telecaster, definitely suggest the Seymour Duncan Jerry Donahue pickup. Amazing. Love it. I love it a lot. Alright, we've got that. Now we're ready for the fun bit. So we're going to spray some of this on there. Not much, just need a couple squirts. And then take your rag. Some of the other things you'll need for this job obviously is some clean rags. You do not want to let this stuff dry, I have noticed, on any of the finish or your hardware. It does leave spots when it dries, so you want to make sure that you don't put on so much that you can't get to it before it dries up, or before you can wipe it off, excuse me. Great finish otherwise though. Does an amazing job making your guitar look nice and new. But yeah, it does leave spots on things if you let it dry on your hardware or on your finish. But what's nice about this True Oil finish is that it is matte, so it, oh my god, it feels so silky smooth already. Love it. God, I love that finish. I'm not particular to the type of finish on a guitar. You know, I don't think it has that much to do with the way it sounds and feels and stuff like that, but there is something about a matte finish when you can get a flame job like this. And I did that flame job. I'm proud of that one. That is my work right there. Anyway, enough gloating. You're going to need to have your string of choice. I like the D'Addario 9 through 42s. I do like the thinner strings. I do not believe that thicker strings are the answer. But, you know, that's up to you to decide. Get whatever strings you want. It's the back side of the guitar, obviously. Give it a couple more squirts. And we'll get the fingerprints and the other stuff off. This wood came out gorgeous. It's a two-piece body. It didn't cost that much either. Of course, that was back before COVID. So I think I built this one like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe now. Maybe a little bit longer than that. So it's got a couple marks. I haven't actually had a chance to play this one on stage yet. You'll notice that I do not have the the straps on it for gosh, if I get the words out, I don't have the straps on it yet, or the strap buttons to put, you know, use a strap. So I got some goo on the neck here. I don't generally like this stuff on necks, but I will use it to clean some goo off. So I'm just over here working at the headstock end. I'm getting the dust out of the tuners and whatnot. So I apologize, I'm a little off shot. We'll come back to that in a minute. I'm trying not to move the camera too much to get everybody else sick and stuff like that. So sorry, you can hear me adjusting the tuners, the locking tuners out. Nothing special about the finish. I didn't do a two-tone or anything like that. The only thing I did different is that on the back and the sides here, I used, you know, an amber to get this finish, which came out great. I love that. And then on the top, I used a black, or like a dark chocolate brown anyway, to get, you know, to get that color, the flame, the tiger striping, if you will. And then I went over with a red, got that out a little bit, and then I went back with a yellow and then an amber. And I wasn't shooting to do like a burst or anything like that. I just wanted it to be a tiger stripe, look like it was kind of on fire. I'm happy with the way it came out. You can actually see it shimmer back and forth with the naked eye, but right now you can't because you get a camera. I'm sorry, but yes, I'm very smitten with that finish. All right, we are now at that fun part. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I myself, in particular, sorry, I'm just kind of trying to polish up things that I see that are a little bit dirty still. I am particular to placing all the strings through the whatchamacallit first. Obviously, when you're not trying to show somebody what it is that you're doing, it's easier to just run all the strings out and then just do the work. But since I have you guys on camera here, that's going to make it a little more difficult for me to just, what's the word for it? You know, show you how to do it with all the strings in there. So I've already done this once. I had to scrap that video because it just did not work out right. I like the D'Addarios because they come in pairs for their strings. They also have colored balls. Shut up. Anyway, a trick to get the things out, if they're wrapped around like that, is to squeeze the, you can just squeeze it. So you just kind of give it a little squeeze like that and they'll pop out. Same with the other side, just give it a little squeeze and they'll ding out. And then holding on, you can generally just pull it a little bit and they'll come out. So I'm going to do this one at a time here, but I'm also going to move the camera and get you into position here. So I apologize, things are going to get a little squirmish for a second here. Oh my gosh, get down in there. Alright, so now we're more in a shot here. So let's get this so we're actually in the shot. Never mind this. This is, I use that as my dampener. I don't have any of those little fuzzy thingies. So, alright, so obviously we already know how this goes in the back side of the guitar. So you take your string, you run it through the back side of the guitar. We know how that's done. So I'm going to do this one at a time. I would normally have all the strings in here already, but pull it through nice and gently through the guitar. Now this is obviously how it pertains to a locking tuner. I wish I had another one. We're going to do another video that doesn't have locking tuners, but in the case of this instance, boy, that fucking spoke just fine English, didn't it? Sometimes, there it goes, it came out that time. Sometimes the little locking pins get stuck up, but so the trick is to get the hole that goes through the tuning peg, you know, kind of straight with the string. So we're straight with the string. I give the end over here, you know, where the string ball end goes through the ferrule, nice little tug to make sure it's seated, and then literally pull the string tight but not too tight. You almost want to pull pitch with it, and then you just tighten up the locking string, or the locking nut, or the lock, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, I'm going slow. I had it literally backed all the way down. Alright, how tight do you go? You don't have to go crazy tight, but you can see here I had them backed all the way down, so I'll bring them in just a little bit. But how tight should you go? I go pretty tight. Like, it doesn't need to be crushed on there, but you can see how it's already causing the string to bend. That's tight enough. So, give you an idea, you can see how the string kind of curves back down. It's tight, but not wrenched down. Those things are not super robust. And then you want to cut it as tight to the tuning peg as you can possibly get it. I do not like strings that poke out a mile. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. So now that you've got that, just tune it up. Ish. Don't worry about tuning it yet. You got a long way to go. Alright, so again, we'll put the other string in the back of the guitar. Pull it through gently. Quick. Come on over here. Bump the camera. My apologies. Make sure that the ferrule is seated with the ball of the string end. Turn the tuning peg so that the hole is going straight, or, you know, parallel with the string, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to call it. And then pull it tight, enough so you can almost pull a tune with it, and then you tighten up the lock, and then just go tight. It doesn't need to be crazy tight, but tight. And then cut the string and bring it to pitch, or bring it to a pitch. You'll probably hear music in the background. It's good to have music. I like having music playing. So this video is obviously not going to be monetized, but whatever. I'm not monetizable anyway, so not with my language. Sorry, don't give a fuck. Give those guys the money. I like blues, so that's what I got playing right now. So, all right, let's get the other string running through here. I'm trying to speed this up a little bit right now. I'm sure this is gonna get old real quick. All right, so pull the string back through the ferrule. I'll kind of show you what I mean. This is obviously a Telecaster, so you know, you just run it through there. That's all I'm doing, just getting it through there. But what I'm doing when I'm pulling it up is I want to drop it down. You can see it pop out real quick. So you just want to make sure it's seated. If it's up here and you just go and run the string through your tuning peg, it won't do any good because it'll pull it up. You want to make sure it's seated in the back of the ferrule before you go and tighten up the string or the tuner, right? And then I tune it again so that the tuner through the hole is in line with the string. And then you run the string through it and then pull it tight. Not too tight. We just want to be able to pull a tune with it. So tight enough right there. And then turn it up to lock it. And you can see it wiggle maybe. It's tight. It's tight enough. And then cut the string right at the tuning peg. Then bring it to pitch. You probably don't need a gun or a string winder with a locking tuners like this. Probably not, because you're only churning at 1/4 of a churn. So I haven't had too many instances where I needed to worry about having a, you know, a string winder of some sort with, go knocking the damn thing again. A string winder with these types of tuners. So I know this is all kind of repetitive at this point, but you know, practice makes perfect, I guess, if you will. Missed it. There we are. Ha, got you now. All right. So the strings that are going to slip the most, or more likely to slip, are going to be the higher strings. Again, it doesn't need to be so tight that you're reefing on it. Like, it just needs to be tight. That's it. Too tight is bad. You just want it to be tight, like a tiger. Sorry, I'm trying to be interesting. I mean, it's so hard to be... It's difficult to be interesting when you're talking about tuning a freaking guitar. Alright, I do not have perfect pitch, but I've gotten really good over the years. I've been tuning guitars for, I don't know, 30 some odd years, so I've gotten a pretty good relative pitch going on, so I can kind of hear it. So we'll test how good I am here in a minute when I actually go to tune the guitar. Alright, so we're getting really close here. Now these ones here are staggered. Highly suggest, if you're going to spend the money and you got a fresh guitar, a new guitar that doesn't have the string holes, you know, the string tree holes in it, get the staggered post guitar tuners. Absolutely freaking amazeballs. I love the staggered tuners. I do not need string trees on this guitar. The only thing I found that is kind of a downer when you don't have string trees is that these guys ring. Which is why you see people that put those, you know, the little hair socks on the backside. So that obviously keeps them from ringing. I've noticed while I was doing some recordings with this guitar in the past where you're playing and you notice like there's all of a sudden like this ring in the background. You're like, what the hell? I'm like, what? Oh, that's why. Duh. So while having no string trees is kind of cool, it's not, you know, not without incident, I guess you could say. So There we go. Kind of missed that off. There we go. All right. And we're almost done, right? So just tightening that guy up while pulling it, and poop. There we go. Tight enough. Boop. Now I gave it just a quick little tug up to get it to go up, because the top of this thing has like a little dimple in it, right? And then the pin that goes up is dimpled like your finger, so it's got like a cup that it goes into that's shaped like the dimple. And the objective of that is that when you pinch the string in there, it just actually captures it, right? It just pinches it in there. But what that causes the string to do is to kink around that little dimple, right? As it goes in, it kinks around, which causes the string to dive down. Well, I just give it a quick pick up, a pop up, and that just pulls it away. So when I cut it, it's like really flush. No cutting of the fingers, right? Although I did cut my finger. You probably can't see it. Who knows? All right, so there is that. So then we tune it up. It's close enough for now. I am going to move the... There we go. My apologies. We're going to move this back now because we're going to come up to part 2. So at this point, we can actually tune the guitar. So oh my god. Hard to tune this way, when you're, not exactly doing it. Alright, tuner of choice. I've got this guy here. I like using that one. I prefer doing it with a cable. Oh, excuse me, I almost had to sneeze there. You can use your sharks, snarks, or whatever the heck those things are called. Nothing wrong with either one. I don't know, this one just, to me, is a little more accurate. It works well. How close was I, though? That is the question. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Yep. My ear, everybody. Oh, you probably can't even see it. Maybe you can. I mean, so close. I do not have perfect pitch, like I mentioned, but like I say, you've been doing this for 30 years. You kind of get good at this kind of stuff. So there you go. Now the guitar is tuned. Obviously, it's going to go out of tune again anyway, but you can give the strings a quick wrap on each one and obviously retune it again. But I don't know. I try not to do that kind of stuff. I just play the guitar normally and then let it go out of tune naturally. So that is how you change the strings on a guitar that has locking tuners. Obviously, now that we've gotten our sweaty fingerprints all over the guitar again, it's nice to give it another quick rub down, so that way we can get all of our fingerprints back off of it, and give it a little quick inspection and call it a day. So that is how you tune or change the strings on a guitar that has locking tuners. In our next video, I wanted to do both. So in the next video, we're going to do this twice, because why not, right? You know how you done it right? You've done it twice. We're going to do it with another guitar of mine, another shop dog. This one's not really my shop dog. This is one of my pride and joys here, but in either case, we're going to show you how to do it with a normal guitar. That way you can get an idea, because there is a way to do it that I feel is a little bit better than other ways. So let's stop this video and we'll move on to another one. Just kind of, I think maybe we'll combine them in the same one, because why not? What the hell? Let's just get it done right now. I'll do the other one a little more speedily. Maybe we'll cut this one up into 2 videos. So in a couple videos back, you saw me building my guitar amplifier. And I was playing a guitar in that video, obviously. That was this guitar. This is my shop dog, one of my shop dogs. So obviously, let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. This guy just sees a lot of use in the shop. No problem with that, right? All right, got another set of strings here. Same rules apply. I don't know if you can see it. This guitar is not, again, it's not had its guitar strings changed in a very long time. Let's see if you can get the grossness, but yes, there is grossness on there. I don't know what it is. I'm very easy on strings. When I play guitar, it seems to bring strings back to life. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm the guitar whisperer or something. I don't know. I'm not. Just kidding, of course, but this one's got a little thing in it. Anyway, so first and foremost, cut these strings off. I'm gonna just, like I said, I'm gonna do this a little bit faster. So if you haven't figured out what we got the last time around, watch it and do it in slow motion. Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. There we go. These guys here, we will pull out the back of the guitar. Don't know if you can see it. Now this one, the plate in the back kind of gets in the way. I don't know what the deal is with it. It makes getting the strings in a little more difficult, or out a little more difficult, because you gotta like twist them to go the right way. I don't know what it is. Like this guitar, they didn't put, I don't know if it's an aftermarket plate on the back. It just doesn't line up exactly where the back of the things are. So you gotta like twist the strings to get it to come out. And then I'll see if I can make that so it's visible. So yeah, you just gotta like twist the strings to make them go through. It's weird. I don't know. None of my other guitars are like that. I don't usually keep the back plate on. I usually take that plate off, but for this one, I liked having it on. Every one of my guitars are a little different in one way or another. I don't know what it is. I guess, you know, guitars are just unique. You gotta treat them uniquely. So that's how I do it. All right. So take these guys. I usually just wad them all up at the end there like that, and then I'll wrap it around. I'll tie a knot the first shot. Maybe, oh, you can see how long those have been on there. There's like flat spots on the strings. I'm very easy on strings, like I mentioned. I haven't broken strings in so long. I can't even remember the last time I broke a set, or broke one. Very rare for me to break a set of strings. All right, we're ready to clean this guy. I know it's kind of hard to see because we got a burgundy wine-colored body on a black background. I apologize. This is where the Gobby Labs does good. Obviously, this is a natural finish neck, and it is very dirty. So we're gonna make sure we get some extra goop on there, and we're gonna rub it in. We want to get all this stuff on there nice like, because we want to get all that dirt off for sure. So this guitar is probably one of my most used guitars, at least lately, the last few years anyway. So this thing gets played a lot. It is almost getting time to do a fret job on this guy. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but it is getting there. And man, oh man, that stuff is on there. Whew, this guitar needed this done years ago. It's not been years since I changed the strings, but I can't remember when I last changed these strings. That's how long it's been. But I would venture a guess it's probably been, oh gosh, at least 8 months, 9 months. I want to say it was right around the turn of the year, so it's been a while, too long. If you can't remember, it's probably been too long. We're gonna add a little more oil on there. This stuff is thick. I just work it back and forth. We're just trying to get the fingerprints off. I'm obviously not too worried about this guitar's fretboard being like conditioned, if you will. More worried about it getting all the goop off. It's got some grime in there. That is a fact, Jack. So I'm just going through and making sure I get it all. This guitar is different. It's a made in Mexico, very much so, but I was never quite happy with the single coils that it came with, which is why it sat in my, oh gosh, I think this one's a 2013 model, maybe earlier, maybe 2012, but it sat in my case for the longest time because I just never really gelled with it. The single coils that were in it were horrible, so I quickly exchanged them, shortly thereafter for some like the Hot Rails ones or whatever that you can get, and that made it much more enjoyable, but it was still just never quite right. I just wasn't happy with it. It's never seen the stage, put it that way. I've never played this guitar on stage because it's always just been kind of off. It's never been quite right. So I finally decided that the reason I didn't like it was because it needed to have single coils. This guitar was begging me to put single coils back in it. So I got a set of the Seymour Duncan Antiquities. I think they're the 65 set, whatever the Surfer version is. It's supposed to represent like the I guess the brighter, more jingly tone or whatever, but I found them to be a little too smoky. This guitar has something going on with it. I think it's an ash body, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a dark sounding guitar. It's kind of got a heaviness to it, which, whatever, it's got its thing going on. It's different than all my other guitars, which is fine, but I just could never quite gel with that. Like, that always kind of disappointed me. And when I put the Antiquities on, it was just a little too smoky. I was looking for something a little bit brighter. So when that didn't work, I was like, okay, I know it's going to be brighter. So then I got the what do they call them? The ones, the SC1s or something like that. Whatever Seymour Duncan makes it is supposed to be like they're just straight up vintage. They got the 5s and they got their 3s and then they got their 1s. Well, I got the 1. I can't remember exactly the name. Shame on me, but those were actually very, very bright, almost too bright. But they were missing something. The neck was great. I liked the neck, and the middle position was good. I liked the middle position, but the bridge was just way. Look at all that grime. That is disgusting. The wife is home. I can hear her now. But it was just something about the bridge annoyed me, and I tried doing a couple things. I tried using what is that? Like the backing plate, so you can put a backing plate on the back of the pickup, and it helps give it a little more oomph, a little more girth, if you will. I did that, and it still just wasn't right. And then I tried a few other things, and nothing was doing it for me. So finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to custom wind a set of my own pickups. I'll do a video on that later. Yes, I have a pickup winding machine that I built, and I'll show you how I did it. But so I bought a kit. I can't even remember from who, but basically it has the bobbin. You can order the bobbins, and then you can tell them what types of magnets you want in there. I think these ones are the Alnico 2s, maybe the Alnico 5s. I have to go back and double check what I ordered, but and then I didn't quite get it all. I'm not happy with that. So then I went back in there and just wound the pickups the way I wanted them to be wound. So I did a little bit of research. I was looking for something that was bright but yet full, and had a little bit more output, but wasn't too hot. I didn't want it to be a hot output, but I didn't want it to be, vintage output either. And so I came up with my own wind, and I like it. I prefer it over the Seymour Duncan Antiquities, to be honest, or their whatever one version is. All right, so we got that. Let's get another clean rag. We're gonna just give this thing a quick dusting off. The only reason we're dusting it off is I like getting the dust off before I try and use the polish. It just, I don't know. Why would you try to wipe dust back into something to get the, to clean it, Get the dust off first and then wipe it with the polish, right? To me, that just makes a little more sense. So, shame on me, I guess. I don't know. All right. Doop-a-doop-doo. We're almost all the way there now. There we go. There it is. Pretty well dusted off. This guitar's gotten some use though. I mean, nowadays it's my most played guitar. Like I said, initially it wasn't, but once I got this thing with some single coils that I was really happy with, and I don't know what it is. I guess when you can custom wind a pickup and you know how you want it wound, you can kind of get it where you want. So, I got it where I wanted it. So, I guess I got lucky. Because it didn't take too many shots to get it right either. I think the first shot I was a little disappointed, and I came back around with it, and the second time was the charm. I can't recall, I wrote the information on the back of the pickups too, what they are, but I'm almost positive that I went with a thinner wire, if you will, 24 gauge or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. Whatever the AWG gauge is, it's really, really small. I went with the thinner stuff, more like the vintage guys did. And then I wound it not hot, but not light either. I don't think there's quite 10,000 wraps on there. I want to say it's closer to 9,000 wraps. So if vintage was like 7,500 wraps and kind of medium is, somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000, and hot is 10,000 and, up. This one's sitting like right at the point where you brush from medium into hot, if you will. And then the wind pattern that I used is obviously just basic scatter wind. There's nothing special to it. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all about the magnets and the number of winds you used. Obviously, if you have two winders that wind the pickup with the exact same number of wraps, it's going to sound different. There is a sum of all parts kind of thing to it. But, you can't control that. It just kind of turns into your touch, I guess. I guess I like my touch. Nobody does it better than you do. Alright, so we got this front side all done up. Just want to make sure everything's nice and clean. Just cleaning the tuning pegs right now. Sorry, I know some of this is out of shot here. I'm trying to get you lined up for what we're about to do here, because we're about to move the camera again. Alright, so let's get our strings out. And I'm in debates on whether or not I want to do this with all the strings in it like I normally do, or if I want to do it one at a time. Kind of feel like I can get a little more work done quicker if I just put them all in there. I don't know. I'll come to that decision here in a minute. I think for right now I'm definitely going to put both of these guys in first. Oh my god. If you wouldn't mind. There we go. Nice shot. Nice shot. Whoop. Yeah, we'll just do these two for right now and then we'll come back to it. So we'll get these in there. Let's move you guys again. I apologize. This is probably going to be nerve-wracking for some of you. If you have squeamish, whatever, I apologize. Okay, so, wow, that was brutal. Okay, so, hold on here. Let's do something real quick. Pause. Okay, so, here we go. Now, this is where it gets tricky, okay? So, we've got, this is the low E string here. The trick is to wind the tuning peg so that the hole is parallel with the string, or, whatever, in line with the string. And then with the inline 6, like this one, when you pull the string, you make sure you're seated in the back of the saddle, right? Pull it tight, not super tight, but tight, and then you pinch it at the next tuner. So that's how I do it. So on an inline 6, I'll pinch it at the next tuner. If you have a 3-on-3, the trick is to just, you pull it tight, and then your next tuner's up there or something, just grab it in the middle, right? So if you got your first one there and your second tuner is like here, just grab it in the middle of whatever you got, and that generally is enough. What we're trying to do is just make sure that we have enough length that we can get around at least once, but not necessarily more than twice. So then you, with your fingers pinched, as you can see here, right, you wind the string, you turn it counterclockwise, and that'll make it go tight. And then I pinch it with my finger here like this, and you can kind of see there that my finger just holds it there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this string and we're going to go over the top of that one. So what we're trying to do is pinch it, right? So now we've gone over the top. So now this guy here is underneath this string, okay? And as we come back around again, we want to make sure that we go underneath this. So this one will go underneath. So one way you can help guarantee that is to give it a little kick up. Now on the E string, it doesn't always make it all the way around. And in this case, I don't think it is. That is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine on the E string not to get it all the way around. This string will almost never ever slip. So in this case, we're good. We're gonna give it a cut and get it done. It's out of the way, it's over with. The A string is gonna wind up a couple turns more. So I lay it in the fret, again, line it up there, pinch it at the other tuner, and then give this a couple turns so it's nice and straight. And get in the hole. I'll try to make it so you can see this one a little bit more. Once you get it in there, you can generally just hold it with your finger like that. You're just giving a little bit of pressure, and then as you turn it, it'll kink. It'll kick over, right? So we're turning it, and then we're gonna go under or over the top of it. So I'll try to make it so you can see that here. So right now, you can kind of see how it's about to go underneath it, right? So we want this string to go over the top this time around. And then as we come around the next time, we want it to go underneath. So we'll get that through and give it a little kick up. So just give it a little dink up. And then, so to give you an idea of what's going on here, maybe you can see this or not, I push down with my finger here and I pull up with these two fingers. So I got something like that. And then as doing so, it keeps the tension tight so that the string doesn't flop all over the place. And it looks like this time we're actually going to get it to go all the way around so it'll actually pinch. So this time we're going to do this. So it's going to go over the top this time. Sorry, I'll get that in the shot. So now that thing's going to lay over the top of it this time, okay? Sorry, it's kind of off the shot there. I think the camera's having a tough time trying to pick. The string's starting to get tight, so it just barely pinched it. Not a big deal. Again, with these first three strings here, it's not a big deal whether or not it actually pinches it like that. So what's happening is you're going over the top, and when you come back around, it ends up under the bottom. And if this is the string that's poking out of the tuner, you cut it right there, and it's just pinched between the two, right? So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one. It's okay. I know that we can do with this. So again, you just try to get it as tight up against the strings as you can. All right. Now we're ready for the next couple strings. Sorry, those aren't the next couple strings. These are the next couple strings. So again, that little trick, just give them a little squeeze. That often will work those out. In this case here, they're too far gone. But, and if you wouldn't mind, please. There we go. Woo! There we go. Magic. So let's get our wound string in. I'm just going to do it one at a time this time, so just keep it easy on us here. Boop. There we go. We're through. And again, make sure that you seat the string on the back side here. So make sure that you give it a couple tugs up to make sure it's all the way all the way up inside of the saddle there. And then again, this is the tuner that we're shooting for. That's the one that we're going to pinch it at. This one here, I prefer to keep always winding them this direction, that direction, right? That direction. So even though the tuner might be quicker to wind it back a little bit, wind it forward. You want to try to get, you know, over time to always have a forward progression with the gears, so you're not constantly just wearing out that one little section that it's there. So if you always wind the the tuner forward when you need to align the whatchamacallit, the tuning hole, the tuning peg hole, then I think it's just a little bit easier. So again, we're going to kind of show this here again. I'm just going to get it so it's underneath. So as you can maybe see there, it's underneath and it's starting to go through. So it's underneath the string currently. And then we'll keep going and you'll see it kind of pop out. So here it is now, it's popped out, and we'll give it a tug up. So now when we come back down around, it's going to go underneath this guy. It's going to go underneath this string. Now these first three strings, it's, again, not super critical that you get it all the way around, but you know, each time you do this, the wrap goes further and further around anyway, so because the string is thinner, so it takes more wraps to get it to go tight. Ish for now. We'll come back to tuning it in a moment. So again, get it tight up against the tuning peg, or the strings actually I should say, and give it a nice clip. All right, boop. There it goes. At least got that one anyway. I think we got one more string to put in first before we get this far. I'm jumping the gun here. I'm used to putting them in all at once, so my apologies. There we go. Okay. So the G string is generally a little bit more of a pain in the ass. It's such a thick string that it doesn't always cooperate. Let me grab it the right way here. So grab it from this side here. So yeah, we're going to turn this thing around. It's got a ways to go this time. And so there we go. Now it's straight. And then turn it. And as you turn it, with the pressure that you're keeping here, it'll give the kick that you need for that string to kink it. So it'll hold tight, right? And then again, we're going to go over the top. So what's nice is it generally will get hooked up on the other tuning peg and bend it in. So this gets pretty easy to make sure it goes over the top, right? So you may or may not be able to tell, but obviously it's going underneath now. And then you can yank it through, give it a kick up. So we're just bending it up. So now when we do it, we'll pinch it down a little further. You'll pinch it deeper down. And then when it rolls around the next time, it'll be underneath. And it'll just kind of lay that way automatically for you. So again, you can use a string, use a winder if you want. I don't usually use winders, but here, I'll use it just for the S's and G's, but I don't know. I don't usually use them. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends on how much of a hurry I'm in. I don't want to say I'm in a hurry in this instance. There we go. And this one here, it absolutely pinched it the whole way, right? Because, you know, we got it, it's like almost another half a wrap around. So this one here, I will cut these next two. Do not cut right away. Okay, so the B and the E string, the high B and the high E string, do not cut those right off the bat. So after you get them wound up, make sure you wait a little bit. Those ones do and will slip. Not gonna guarantee that it will, but it generally will. Alright, got this guy in there. Nothing different. Just make sure that it's seated at the saddle. Stretch it out, get it there. This one's pretty close, pinched it there. actually get it in the hole. And same rules apply. You don't even really have to pinch it. So now we got it there. We can get it generally. Can't get my finger underneath it. There we go. So it's going to get caught underneath there, which helps you a lot because as it does so, it makes it so that way you can, let's see if you can see that. See how it's bent over like that? It just makes it easier to catch this guy and make sure it's going over the top, right? And then as you spin it around and pop out, then you can use the string tree if you have them. Lock that underneath. Give this a kick up. All right, so now it's bumping shit. Sorry, but see how it's kind of bumped up? I don't know. You can't really see it. I'm sorry. Black background. My bad. But yeah, kick this guy up, and the next time it goes around, it's going to definitely be underneath. It's always good to confirm or double check, but we know that it's going to go around more than once. So here we are. We know that it's going over the top. It's not going to quite go around 2 full times. I can tell you that right now, but this is why you don't cut it yet. Okay? It's still probably going to stretch. It might slip. So even though we've got that little pinch, where it's pinching the 2 wires like that, it may still slip. So don't cut that string yet, but only on the 2 high ones. Once we get down to the other 4 are fine, but wait until after you have this thing tuned and everything is, that it's good, right? You want to make sure that all the slipping that it's going to do is done. Now you're probably going, well, how do you guesstimate where it goes on this one, right? Well, same kind of deal. You just kind of imagine where it might be. I usually go to the end of the headstock. I imagine that it's there. Turn the tuning peg so it's lined up, and put it in the hole and give it a twist. Nice little twist. And then this one, because it's a thinner string, it'll take a little more effort to make sure that you don't slip and pull out. So don't pull on it too tight while you're, until after you get about a half turn around, right? You want to make sure that you don't yank it back out of there or prematurely cause it to slip, right? So at this point, it should automatically go underneath for you. When I say underneath, this one will go underneath here, and this one will go over the top. And it did. All right, so we'll go around, and this one's going to wrap around just a little bit further than the last one did, probably. This one didn't slip. The last guitar, I was tuning another one earlier. I wish I caught it on camera. Well, I did catch it on camera. I deleted it, but I was tuning it up, and it totally went. You hear it go. It like detuned itself. All right, so let's move the camera back. Oh my God, I'm apologizing here. Sorry. Okay, so here's the guitar. Let's kind of tune it up a little bit. All right. All right, let's see how close we were. I don't think we were as close this time as we were the last time, but let's just see here. See how well we did. Boop. on, bridge, turn that on, and let's see what the survey says. Oh, so close. There we go. She's in tune, ready to go. So now that we got it in tune, something else you can kind of do. You don't have to do it. I don't particularly care. I mentioned before that you can give them a quick snap, just kind of like that, and that'll, cause them to obviously go out of tune real quick. I don't particularly care to do that. You can if you want. That just helps make sure everything sets and gives a quick thing. Obviously at this point now that you know that the strings can hold pitch without slipping, right? Now you can go ahead and cut these guys here. So we don't need to bother with those anymore. You want to make sure that they are not where you will cut the wrong strings. Sometimes you gotta spin them back a little bit because sometimes they'll wrap all the way around so the string is going across it. So sometimes you have to unwind the string a little bit, but there you have it. Now what we can do is give this guitar a quick wipey downy. Make sure that we got all of our sweat and grime off of it. Now we are ready to rock out with our cocks out. Yep. Okay. Alright, I love it. I love it, I love it. There we go. Alright, so here we go. That is how I tune, or how I change the strings on a standard, let's turn that around a little bit there, on a standard style tuner. To me, having it pinched together like that is kind of the ideal way to do this. I changed with the lighting a little bit. I apologize. It does make the background a little bit darker, which makes seeing some of this stuff hard to see, but it got the glare off of this thing. But I hope that helps. I hope that answers some questions. You can see here how much prettier, much prettier this neck now is. There's no grime on there. It is ready to rock and roll. So getting it's all about preference, I guess, really. Like I don't like having strings that hang off off the tuning pegs like a mile. Like I just don't like seeing wraps that go around like 5 or 6 times. I'm very neat and tidy with that. 1.5, 2 times max is more than enough generally to wrap the string and get it to hold tension. I don't have tuning problems. I don't have string breaking problems. None of that jazz. If I ever do break a string on this guitar, it's generally going to be down here by the bridge, but I can't remember the last time I broke a string. So I hope this helped. I hope it answers some questions, and if you have something, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear some comments about what you think about things. I know that what type of conditioners to use and all that stuff generally is a topic of argument, or at least discussion amongst some people. Obviously polish, I mean, come on, it's just freaking guitar polish. Use what you want to use. Some people don't like using anything. Obviously, if you have a guitar worth lots of money, a vintage guitar, maybe you'll be a little more careful. Maybe you'll think about, and apply a little more thought into what you're going to put on it. Obviously some of the different finishes they used 60, 70, 80 years ago, obviously aren't like these polyurethane finishes that we have now, or the true oil finishes and stuff like that. So use some caution, I guess, at that point. Obviously, if you think it's going to hurt the wood, then don't use it. I mean, if you have doubt and question about it, don't do it. Send it to a luthier who will do it for you. We'll probably use the same stuff anyway, but maybe not. Who knows? With unfinished necks like this one here, I think something like this certainly can't hurt it any worse than just your finger grime alone will. stripping it raw by using alcohol or naphtha or some other, you know, solvent like that, I don't think it's wise to do that. I think it is best to use some sort of an oil-like finish, so lemon oil or something like that, Pledge even, something, anything. On a finished neck, like the other guitar we had where it has, you know, a finish on it, like the maple necks, usually maple necks are finished. I don't think it matters at all which way you go with it. Obviously it's finished, so it's got a paint over it, so what else can, you know, what else are you going to do? Once you wear through the finish, it's up to you what you want to do, but, you know, that's something. Now, the only reason I'm particular about how the tuning pegs are is because I feel that it does improve the tuning stability of the guitar. When you have only a couple wraps around the tuning peg, you know, a couple wraps, there's not that much string to stretch. So it'll hold tune longer, right? It shouldn't, once it gets that stretch done, it'll hold there. Well, when you wrap it around 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you've got now that much more string to stretch and pull over time. And I think eventually it will, and it will cause your guitar to go out of tune over time, more often than, say, one that doesn't have that many wraps. That is why I feel that locking tuners are the shiznit. Get locking tuners if you know, have a guitar in which, you know, can manage that. Hip Shop makes some great tuners. That's what I buy for all of my guitars. This one doesn't have that. These are the standard ones that come with this guitar, but I have some Hip Shots waiting for it, trust you me. So yeah, just a couple things. Obviously, pickup choices, I mean, that's a personal thing. I'm happy with how I wound these up. That's something I can do. I'm not throwing it out there for you to send me requests. I'm saying, like, literally it's something I can do. And you can too. We will do a video on how to make a pickup winder, so you can perhaps venture into it yourself. But every guitar is unique, I think. There's no two guitars that are identical, and obviously that's to say that even if you had a set of pickups that were identical, it's not probable that it would sound exactly the same on any two guitars. So, you know, while two guitars may sound similar, even with the same pickup in it, it might sound different. And I think it's just kind of one of those things. It's the sum of all parts. This one I kind of landed on. I'm still not 100% happy, but I am the happiest I've ever been with these pickups. That's all I'm saying. So, thank you so much for sticking with me as long as you have. If you like this, please give me a like and subscribe. And I hope we answered some questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.